Light the Starlight channel. My name is Therese Tucker, and this is What in the World weekly event readings. And this week I have a question from Sarah. And Sarah, she lives in Iowa, I believe, and she had an amazing experience last week when we had all that incredible solar activity. A bunch of the solar energy started to radiate down and create northern lights in parts of the states that don't normally see it. So here's what Sarah has to say. It says, last night, for the first time in my life, I got to experience the northern lights. Something I've dreamed about seeing my entire life, but never thought I would experience it, as I don't live in a location that typically gets them. Let alone as intense as they were when they showed up. She says they did not disappoint either. I almost can't describe the feeling of awe and wonder at what I saw when I saw the first picture I took. Looking at them in the sky, you don't see a whole lot. There was just a green haze in the sky that you could see moving, but nothing too exciting. But once you took a picture, it came alive with intense greens and reds. That's when the excitement of what was happening really kicked in. My 12-year-old actually said to me, I wonder then what is all around us that we can't see? Oh, that is a really good question. Really makes you wonder. As I stood there, I felt the tears welling up in my eyes. It was such an overwhelming feeling, full of peace and harmony, and that all was right in the moment. So much so that despite the cold, we went out 4 different times to see how the colors in the sky had changed. It has me wondering, though, if this is a precursor to the great flash that is to come. Was that just a taste of it to prepare us or warm us up for all that is coming? It's a really good question. So let's find out. I'm going to ask my team. Okay, so I want to start with the pendulum, and I want to ask my team whether this was a precursor to the great solar flash. So let's start with that question. I'm going to try and hold it up higher so you guys can see. Okay. All right, you guys can see that back and forth movement. That back and forth movement right there says yes. So yes to that being a precursor to the great solar flash that is to come. So now I want to ask my team using the cards if that was just a precursor, a warm-up, or are we sort of in the window of this solar flash coming? So the first thing I want to ask is there any more information they can give us regarding the solar flash, whether it's on its way or not? Okay, so when I asked about whether or not this was like the solar flash incoming, what did they have to say? I had 2 cards come up. The first one is the Justice card, and this is coming up in the upright position. So this is a destiny card. So it's major arcana are always a stronger message when they come through. So the first thing they want to know is that we are receiving what we should rightfully receive. They are dosing us with this solar energy. And this is something we've known. We've known that we're being dosed with solar energy, but this influx that we got is sort of something we have righteously received. We are meant to get that dose. And it was sort of it's sort of a prompt to get us to see, like, give us a taste of what is to come and get us to continue to move in that direction. They also want to let us know with this card coming in this position, that what we received, we deserved that. Like, we've done something that is in alignment with this bigger energy coming in. And so receiving this is a type of gift. So I feel like, Sarah, directly for you, seeing that was a confirmation that you're on the right track. Right, being able to see it, being able to experience it, and having that emotional connection to it was sort of a message from your own team that you're getting it, you're doing it, right? So, and that's not to say if you didn't see these northern lights that you're not on the right path or doing it. It's just simply to the questioner, your team wants you to know this was like an extra special message for you to receive. The other card that comes up is the Ace of Wands in reverse. And what that's letting us know is that so this is like God energy coming through. And, you know, look at this. It's a fire wands are fire, right? So this fiery energy would represent like the flame of God, or the energy of God purely coming through. And what this in reverse means is there is a delay. And we talked about this in the last weekly world update. There is a delay. It's being kind of held back, believe it or not. So let's find out if we can get more information about who's holding this back, because that would be really helpful to know. Why is it being held back? And I think just kind of based off what we got last time, it's a timing thing, but it's being held back to a degree. So we got a taste. You were meant to get it. You deserve to get it. Right? But it's being withheld to some degree. It's not the right time yet. I'm going to ask my cards now, who? Is there a who behind who's holding this back? If you could tell us, let us know now. Who's holding this back? All right, so I didn't really get a who, even though I felt God. Like this is a bigger source energy kind of decision. It's a timing decision, divine moment. So it's not necessarily something that's just going to be like decided by an entity. It's decided by the collective, and the mass collective being source energy, God. But they did give me messages about this timing. So they want us to know that this is the Six of Wands in the upright position. It's called the Victory card. But the worst of it is we're through. Okay, so if you look at this card here, what you see is this road straight ahead to the sun, literally, right? This temple or new earth, you could say. And the barrier that was blocking us to getting there has been removed. Notice how in this picture, though, we are not through the resistance, but we've broken through. So we still have to walk the rest of this path. And the path is, it looks a little long, but it's much closer. I mean, it's within eyes vision now. It's on the horizon. You can see it. The worst part is literally behind you, but you're still kind of walking through the end of it. So that's how I'm knowing that. And then funny enough, the second card that comes up right behind it that they want us to know is the Seven of Wands. So the 6 is victory and the 7 is valor, which means that you've got to trust in this process. You have to have conviction in your heart for what is the truth. Do you believe you're through the worst of it, or are you, still in doubt of that? So conviction gets you across this chasm. So I don't know if you can see it. There's a man, he's leaping across this chasm here. And it's the conviction of will in the spirit. The wands represent the will, right? The fiery energy of our soul, our will. And it is will over matter, right? It really is like, I am through this. We are through this. Part of how this starts to come about is our own belief in it coming about. So partly what I'm hearing here is this recognition of this beautiful climax that's approaching, this beautiful moment coming. And if you've heard this week's karma cards, then you kind of understand where they're coming from in terms of, don't look at what it looks like. Don't focus in here on the walls and the battle that you had to fight. Focus out here where you're going, and have the courage and conviction to believe you're going to get there. Believe that you're going to get there. And now they want to talk to us about what's in the way. So the next thing we've got is the Queen of Cups reversed. So the Queen of Cups is she's very psychic and intuitive and very emotional. When she's in this position, she is overly sensitive, she's the negative aspects of herself. And in this position, she is sensitive to everything. So if small thing goes wrong, she blows it out of proportion. She blows it into a big melodrama. She spends more time on thinking about the things that aren't coming, that she wanted to come, rather than what's happening. Like she's disproportionately seeing her world. She's not seeing it for what it is or what it could be, but rather what she mourns and what she thinks she's lost. She's more focused on what's not working than what's working. And that's keeping us from being able to really know we're in the corridor. And we are in this event corridor at this time. So, and the last card that they send me today is the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. And this one is talking about poor timing or missed opportunities or having to repeat lessons. And that's the one I'm like really getting the tingles on, is there's some lessons that are being repeated that humanity is just not quite getting. And so it's like, we gotta keep hitting you with this one until you get it, till you see the mistake in the thinking or the mistake in perception happening. Until you get that, this lesson gets repeating. And so there is a delay on the good things. This would be a good fortune position. This is a fortune where you're missing the point and you have to repeat the lesson. So what is delaying this grand action is we're missing some major points. And I think when I ask in my heart, like, what is it we're missing? And it's like, we're still dividing. We're still letting ourselves be divided. We're still looking for ways that we're separate or superior. And while we do that, we miss the opportunity to move forward, because it's not about that. It's, if we could step out of this game for a minute, we would see that we were all hanging out together. we were all watching the same movie together, having the same reaction, but we're in the movie at the same time as we're watching it. So again, it's like, don't get hung up on the stuff that keeps coming up to try and stump you. It's a testing period. And apparently we're missing a few tests. And it's like, you got to look to your heart. Are you letting yourself are you still being taken in by judgment? Are you still being divisive? Are you still seeing right and wrong? Are you holding anger in your heart? Are you waiting for someone to admit that they were wrong? I think that's one of the bigger ones, weirdly, is that people are really holding out for people to admit that they were wrong. And I gotta say, I can understand that. Like, on a personal level, on a human level, I think we all play that game, right? Especially if you feel wronged, if you feel like you were just really wronged or treated unfairly for whatever reason. And this is a very human part of the condition. We all go through that. It doesn't matter what the topic is. We all have that moment where we feel wronged. And yet the higher part is to try to understand the opposing perspective. So if you're watching something, if you're looking at something and you're feeling like, if it catalyzes you to feel more like you're on a side, then the way to sort of neutralize that is to try to step in the other person's shoes. Try to view it from another point of view, and try to see it the way that they're seeing it. Try to look through their eyes. And I think that people are still afraid to do that. They're afraid to do it because they're worried that if I do that I'm somehow betraying myself. I'm betraying my own stance or position. And it's like, you're not. You're not, because just looking and having compassion doesn't fundamentally change you unless what you see is convincing enough for you to want to change. But most of the time, we can actually maintain our personal values, our core beliefs, and look at something else. And it's this fear of seeing it or hearing it or trying to understand and listen from another point of view that keeps us dividing again. So my feeling is that one of the lessons that we're doomed to kind of repeat for a minute here until we can get this at a majority level is this: there's no need to divide. You can like what you like, you can believe what you believe, you can hold the values you hold, and yet you can try to see someone else's perspective and point of view, even if it's starkly different than your own. And as we do this, as more of us do this, and I'm getting a lot of feedback from the team, like, yeah, that's it. The more we do this, the more we can start to turn this card, which is like repeat the lesson, and complete the lesson and move forward. And again, this isn't something where hearing that, I know that at least one perspective who would hear that might go, oh my God, I can do that. But if they don't do that, we're not moving forward. Again, I can hear as I say that the separation and the division in the statement. So until you can do this without saying that, then you've really got it. So we've still got to practice it. And again, have compassion. We all want to have compassion with ourselves. I know that we're at that point where we're like, okay, I'm done. I get it. I understand the point. I understand the movie. I understand the lessons. I understand this, and yet I feel done. You got to go back to the things that we need to have here. We've won. We broke through. The worst is behind us, but you have to have the belief that you're going to get there, right? And so rather than focusing on how tired you are or how long this goes on or how long you feel like you've been waiting, focus on the fact that you can continue to unify within, right? So that means that I accept all parts of myself, and then as I do that, I can start to accept all the parts outside of me that are not. It's easy to accept the parts that are in alignment. When people you get along with, you're in alignment, you agree, you hold the same values, that's easy. When you can start holding that space in your heart for those who are well with outside those values, then we're doing it. And this is the master class. And so we will continue to repeat the master class until we really get it. And so I hear you, team. I get it. I got work to do here too. And it's always a good reminder, but the hope and the conviction in where we're going, and they did give you a taste, and it is coming, and we are in that corridor. Just have to keep retaking this class, but hopefully not too many more times. Hopefully not too many more times. So if you couple this reading with the karma cards reading, it's like they're a handshake. They go hand in hand. So I encourage you to listen to that as well so that you can get the details of how to do what they're asking us to do. It's all coming in right now. And with that, I hope that answers your question. And what a cool experience. I got to see the pictures of that Sarah took, and they were absolutely gorgeous. You are so lucky you got to see that. I bet it was really cool. So if anyone else would like to ask a question about what's going on, events that are going on, doesn't matter, pop it in the comments and I will read your question on the next What in the World event readings. Until then, check out this week's karma cards, because like I said, it's like a key to how to ace that test, if you will. And with that, I'm sending you so much love, and you have a beautiful week. Mwah.